the spine-chilling tale of the Enfield Poltergeist. The spine-chilling story of the Enfield Poltergeist, one of the most infamous and well-documented paranormal cases in history. This haunting took place in the late 1970s in a modest council house in Enfield, London, and remains a cornerstone of paranormal investigations to this day. From strange noises to levitations, this case captured the world's attention, and tonight, we're exploring every terrifying detail. The story begins with the Hodgson family, Peggy, a single mother, and her 4 children. Their peaceful life took a dark turn when bizarre, inexplicable events began to unfold. It started small, odd knocking sounds, strange tapping, and distant thuds that had no apparent source. One night, the family experienced their first major encounter with the entity. Furniture began to move on its own, chairs sliding across the floor, drawers opening by themselves. Imagine the terror of watching your living room rearrange itself before your eyes. What started as a few unsettling noises quickly escalated into full-blown chaos, and Peggy had no choice but to call for help. At first, skepticism was the dominant reaction from neighbors and local authorities. After all, how do you explain such bizarre happenings without sounding irrational? Even the media began covering the story, some ridiculing it, others sensationalizing it. But while the outside world debated its legitimacy, the Hodgson family was trapped in a nightmare they couldn't escape. The entity's focus seemed to zero in on one person in particular, Janet Hodgson, the second oldest daughter. Janet became the epicenter of the activity, enduring horrifying experiences that no child should ever have to face. Her bed would violently shake, objects were hurled across the room at her, and worst of all, she would often be thrown from her bed by an unseen force. Imagine waking up tied to your bed, hands and feet bound by sheets with no memory of how you got there. That was Janet's reality. As the haunting intensified, the family sought help from paranormal investigators. Maurice Grosse, a well-known researcher with experience in these cases, took a particular interest in the Hodgsons' plight. Equipped with recording devices, cameras, and sensors, he set up camp in the Hodgsons' home, determined to document whatever was happening. What he captured was more than just eerie phenomena. It was outright terrifying. One of the most infamous incidents occurred when Janet was reportedly levitated above her bed. Multiple witnesses, including neighbors and investigators, saw her floating mid-air, defying gravity. Imagine standing in that room, watching a child suspended in the air with no visible force lifting her. It's the stuff of nightmares. And it wasn't just the levitation that shocked everyone. Grosse and his team managed to capture audio recordings of a deep, guttural voice that claimed to be the entity. The voice was unlike anything you'd expect from an 11-year-old girl. Low, raspy, and disturbingly clear, it would speak in broken sentences, delivering menacing messages that chilled everyone who heard it. The recordings became a focal point of the investigation. Skeptics argued it was all a hoax, but believers insisted there was no logical explanation for the things being recorded. These tapes still exist, and even decades later, they're considered some of the most compelling pieces of paranormal evidence ever captured. As the months dragged on, the Hodgson family lived in a constant state of fear. Janet's physical and emotional health deteriorated under the stress of nightly attacks. Objects flew through the air, doors slammed shut without warning, and shadowy figures were seen lurking in the hallways. The oppressive energy in the house grew stronger, leaving even the most seasoned investigators feeling uneasy. Despite the fear and chaos, Maurice Grosse and his team pressed on, determined to find answers. They documented hours of audio and video evidence, logging every incident no matter how minor. Yet, despite their extensive research, no one could definitively explain what was happening. The case divided public opinion. Was it a hoax, mass hysteria, or genuine proof of the paranormal? Eventually, as mysteriously as it had started, the activity began to wane. By 1979, the poltergeist seemed to have lost its grip on the Hodgson family, but the damage was done. Janet, now a young adult, was forever marked by the experience. In interviews years later, she admitted that while some events may have been exaggerated by others, the core of what happened was very real. The Enfield Poltergeist case left a lasting legacy, not just for the Hodgson family, but for paranormal research as a whole. It opened the door for serious discussions about hauntings and poltergeists, inspiring countless books, documentaries, and even movies. Most notably, it became the basis for The Conjuring 2, further cementing its place in pop culture. As I reflect on this chilling case, one thing is clear: the Enfield Poltergeist is more than just a ghost story. It's a testament to the unknown forces that may exist beyond our understanding. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, the events that unfolded in that small house in Enfield make you question the boundaries of reality. And that's it for today's deep dive into the Enfield Poltergeist. What do you think? Was it all a hoax, or is there something more to this terrifying story? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to check out my next video where we explore another real-life haunting. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.